Alright everyone, so in this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about one of my favorite supplements as of recently, also known as L-Tyrosine. This is a Now Foods brand, and I've used a few other brands, but Now Foods is obviously the universal standard, as far as affordability and quality is concerned. Whenever I get Now Foods, I always know that whatever it is I'm purchasing is exactly what it says it is. So L-tyrosine is an amino acid, and obviously just Google search amino acid if you don't know what that is. You should know what the fuck that is. But anyway, L-tyrosine is an amino acid. It's a precursor to dopamine and noradrenaline, and L-tyrosine is also a cofactor or precursor to thyroid hormone. It's an absolute excellent supplement for somebody who might be suffering from low thyroid, in addition to iodine, obviously. Lugol's iodine solution, somewhere around 15 grams or something of that nature. Very high dose of iodine, along with tyrosine, or a amazing kelp powder along with tyrosine. But iodine, tyrosine, selenium, and other cofactors in order to make thyroid hormone. But beyond thyroid hormone, tyrosine has an absolute excellent effect on desensitizing your body to stress. First and foremost, there's actually studies that were done on war veterans or soldiers, people in the army who were dealing with PTSD symptoms, or people who deal with high stress situations, specifically periods of acute, intense stress, such as an explosion just happening like right behind me consistently throughout the day, or somebody like bullying me throughout the day, or even something like if you're a truck driver and you're constantly being exposed to the stress of crazy drivers on the road. Tyrosine helps you deal with these things, these types of chronic acute stressors. Okay. Tyrosine also helps to increase your motivation drastically. I mean, come on, it's the precursor to dopamine, and dopamine is a neurotransmitter responsible for motivation. So, obviously, this is going to increase your motivation on a neurochemical level. So, beyond that, a lot of users of tyrosine report a feeling of increased energy. And this has to do with tyrosine being the building block to thyroid hormone, which if you have healthy thyroid, that means you have healthy energy levels. Also, because tyrosine is a building block to dopamine and noradrenaline, and adrenaline as well. And these catecholamine neurotransmitters are obviously stimulating, but since tyrosine is more of a nutrient rather than a drug, this will be a more healthy energy. Okay, caffeine is a drug, essentially, that, depending on what form you take it in, if you take it in tea, it's not going to be like this, but caffeine essentially you can think of as a drug that increases the release of dopamine. Okay, it does not boost dopamine, it actually stimulates the release, which can deplete your dopamine over time. Whereas tyrosine is a direct precursor, so it's like consuming dopamine directly, essentially. People who are depressed or anxious, but especially people who are depressed, generally they have way too much serotonin, or they just have low neurotransmitters in general. Usually they're deficient in dopamine, okay? Depression is characterized by symptoms of dopamine deficiency, such as lack of motivation, and just, a lot of sentimental nostalgia and dwelling. This is a sign of dopamine deficiency, which can be corrected by taking precursors. Personally, in my opinion, I really feel like antidepressants and these pharmaceutical drugs are retarded, because, number one, there's no tests that can, you know, say like, oh shit, you know, you're low in dopamine or you're low in serotonin. You can't really test for neurotransmitters that way. So saying that your depression is caused by a neurochemical imbalance is fucking retarded. There's no facts. That's just an assumption. Beyond that, if you did have a neurochemical imbalance, it would make sense to figure out, well, which one. If you're being prescribed an antidepressant, antidepressants work on stimulating neurotransmitters or blocking or activating receptor sites for a specific neurotransmitter. So instead of using a pharmaceutical drug to artificially stimulate or block receptor sites of neurotransmitters, why not just give the patient the precursor to that neurotransmitter that they're supposedly deficient in? You know, it's like trying to solve a vitamin deficiency by cutting out an organ or something. It makes no sense. Yeah, so tyrosine is a precursor neurotransmitter. You can use this to boost your dopamine. It will increase your motivation, your inspiration, your energy. It can help to balance your thyroid. Also, it might possibly help to counteract the effects of prolactin, and prolactin is a dopamine antagonist. Anything that basically stimulates dopamine, you're helping to balance out those prolactin levels. Prolactin will make you feel kind of like you're never sexually satisfied, yada yada. A constant state of disappointment. Tyrosine helps to counteract that. So if you want to be motivated, you want to be inspired, you want energy, if you feel depressed or a lack of get up and go, if you're constantly dwelling on nostalgia or dwelling in general, if you're chronically stressed, if you're an entrepreneur and you're constantly stressing out about your business, tyrosine is an excellent amino acid to try. I get this for about $10 a bottle, and it comes in 120 milligram capsules. Also for college students, you know, you feel overwhelmed with work, if you have money issues, things like that. Obviously, you need to deal with your mindset and the mental aspect of it and your perspective of whatever circumstances you're dealing with, but biochemically, tyrosine will give you that extra help. So I highly recommend this to anyone who, falls within those categories. Now, of course, there's so many other herbs and supplements I could recommend for these conditions, such as Mucuna prurens, high in L-dopa, cacao, green tea extract, maca root, bacopa, theanine, all these things. So if you want to hear more about herbs and supplements, such as the ones I just mentioned, I have videos on all these things. Go ahead and subscribe to me, and maybe you'll catch a couple of my videos in the future for more of these herbs and whatnot. So I talk all about nutritional therapies, natural health and medicine, holistic health, and increasing human performance to that of a superhuman. So yeah, subscribe to me, comment down below, ask me your questions, and I will get back to you as soon as possible.